So here I am, breaking down the depths of duplicity into parts like the Beardo of old, only to realize in editing that the intro to this deep dive is missing one of the 5 new Shadow Plinth crafts that we're highlighting today. And silly me, how could that be? Especially when the thing is so wiki that it's one of the most surprising items we've got. So craft a crafting station at another crafting station, and let's get to it. But why make such a mess over these Icker preserve kits, you say? Well, because there's more to them than meets the eye. If we've got the ick to make them stick, that is. For you see, before we can do anything, we must find and acquire both some Ickers themselves and empty bottles. For you see, those globs that we beat out of these things can be collected within the ladder to create Icker jars. Throwable sticky grenades, essentially. Now these blobs last for a day and slow down anything caught within them, but can also be collected again with new bottles, so make note there. But for our purposes, however, we want to concentrate them into a preserve kit, a process that actually returns 3 bottles per craft mind. But doing so will create these mini structures that stop the spoilage of anything placed within them. And what can we preserve, you ask? Well, the obvious, of course, but the fun truly begins when we start plopping in light sources and fish. Yes, you heard that right. Fish, the only creatures that are actually allowed in these things. But why bother? Because some fish, say like a couple seasonal guys, can actually create infinite temperature stations wherever we please. So you see, it was a shame of me to not give these guys their due in the intro there. But I digress. So let us bonk some noggins and talk some numbers. The easiest recipe of the day is that of the Gloomerang here, which is kinda nuts considering its potential, as it's more than a bonker for sure. It's repairable, has a 10% speed boost added onto it, has a chance to throw out 4 returning projectiles instead of 3, and does damage based on proximity, all of which is at your disposal, folks. With no Void Cowl, you can expect a maximum damage of 54.4 to 58, depending on if the target is a lunar entity or not. But with the cowl upon your head, that leaps to 62.1 to 66 damage a hit. Furthermore, let us recall what I just said, that is for 1 projectile that automatically catches itself. If you do all this, you'll have 4. Oh yes, it's good. But now the not so good buffer between the Gloomerang and the rest of the crafts today, these possessed shadow atriums. Here's the deal, everyone. Every time a rift opens up down here, 33% of all ornate chests become mimics in both the labyrinth and the atrium mind, meaning subsequent rifts will eventually turn all chests into what you're about to see here. Now, there are a couple ways to go about this next bit apparently, starting with simply shoving an atrium down one of these things' mouth in order to start an easy but dangerous fight, or by having a chest eat an atrium upon the ground. But me, I have literally never seen one eat a heart, so I just choose the former. But following all that, however, we will also have to trap this new atrium, so don't forget that. Do note that mimics also steal items from our inventories upon landing a hit, and good luck, as we need to fire through the remaining 3 crafts of the day, starting with the Beefalo Gloom Bell. It works identically to our normal Beefalo bells, with one teensy tiny difference. It can literally bring back a bonded Beefalo to life. Be mindful though, doing so costs us 50% of our maximum HP, 100 points of sanity instantly, and a whopping 15-day cooldown timer on the bell before we can revive that bonded beef again. So don't let it die again too quickly, while also not missing a quick look at a beef's poop, as apparently a bonded beef's poop vanishes in under like 5 seconds, I guess. Why? I don't know. But what I do know is that the Nightmare Saddle is friggin' good. 18 planar damage on top of what the beef will do itself, an extra 10% to lunar mobs at that, 15 points of planar defense, a built-in base 60% damage resistance to anything at that, reduced damage taken via shadow entities, and a 45% speed boost, rendering it the second best around when it comes to that. First best if we're talking anything else, of course. So anticipate 68 damage to most anything while it's on the back of an ordinary beef, and 74 to any lunar-based targets. Problem though, even with planar defense, any damage taken by planar having entities still knocks us off in 1 hit. So yeah, that's not cool. I imagine that's gonna change, honestly. But now it's time to talk the one craft that has changed the most since this update's release, the Shadow Maul. Basically, the thing is a multi-weapon and tool that can chop trees efficiently and bonk enemies for 48 a pop. Uniquely, however, Woody loses a lot of sanity when chopping with this thing. Regardless, it does as advertised, but just like the Gloomerang, it is oh so much more. Not only will the cowl up the thing's base stats, the ramping up of damage via the cowl's own mechanic of consecutive hits landed helps it climb to 80 to 88 damage a hit. And heck, that's even before we level the damn thing up as well. As after every 3 boss kills, minus the ones you see before you now, the maul changes shape, stats, and more, leading to a lifesteal mechanic at that. Now, I could break it all down level by level, or I could just throw this up on screen and make all of our lives easier, and just warn you that you will be losing sanity based on 50% of the health you restore per hit. So have fun, as I imagine most only want to hear that a maul's damage range is gonna peak at 92 to 102 overall, depending on what you're fighting. But the rest of us do kind of care about the details, so let us finish off by talking its hunger nonsense. Yes, it drains faster the higher its level, but anything, and I do mean anything, restores it by 50 per kill. But once it's starved, its durability would drop rapidly before it quote-unquote breaks down to level 1 again. But don't worry, it and everything else you have seen today is repairable via a void repair kit at 100% durability, so have at it. As there you have it, everyone, an in-depth look at Don't Starve Together's 5 newest crafts and then some. Bear in mind that the handheld ones also count as shadow gear for Maxwell's Duelist, and that if you're looking for any of those dark tatters, something that people always forget about, you first need to find the Dreadstone Outcrop at any Nightmare Fissure once a rift is open, and either do battle with the discount shadow pieces, aka the Ink Blights, or the new Rictus. Good luck. But thanks for watching, folks. Well wishes to all, praise the moon, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.